away. Thailand's Noppon Saengkham to get the last match on table 1 underway here in the last 16 of the Scottish Open. Ali Carter, his opponent, Carter number 11 in the world. And came back from 3-1 down last night against Robbie Williams. A very fast-flowing match that. The average frame time is 11 minutes. He beat Graham Dott in the previous round, so 2 solid wins. I'm sure Noppon Saengkham was obviously disappointed not to make the maximum last night, but it was a great win regardless of that.
As you say, they were very contrasting matches. One was very late, stroke early this morning, and the other one was, the Carter match was really played at a frantic pace, all 7 frames. I'm sure it'll be like that tonight. He sets a very tough ordeal for his opponents, Noppon. He's got a very good safety and tactical game, but when he goes on the all-out attack, he's quite devastating, as we saw at times last night against Selby. When he decided to attack him, he did it very effectively. But he's got to back it up with another good performance today, and it's not so easy. The day after he played so well, and he did play well to beat Mark Selby.
Thank you.
Well, of course, he got to the final here last year, so it's a venue that he does like and has had already a good run in. Of course, he beat Carter on the way to that final 12 months ago. Gary Wilson beat him 9-5 in the end.
Yes, of course, Noppon beat John Higgins in the semi-finals last year. It got a bit emotional for him. He was almost in tears, and I don't know if that made it quite difficult for him to start the final, because he wasn't really the same player for the first session of that final.
Little double kiss there was handy, wasn't it?
It was, and I don't know whether Ali can get to the red to the left of the pink. Yes, just about. Doesn't mean it's an easy shot, though, to make thin contact. A little concerned that if he goes as thin as he needs to, he might be very close to hitting the blue on the way through. Good shot. Yes, he hit the blue, but he made good contact with the red. That is a mistake, and quite a serious mistake, from not a huge amount of trouble that Noppon Saengkham was in. No great strategy there, looking for a little bit of luck. Well, if he was confident he'd knock in the yellow or blue and play on the red, but not sure if he wants to risk a shot of that kind, knowing that he would certainly leave plenty on. But if he does play something else, he's got to cover that red to right middle, so it could be that best form of the defence is to attack. Taking the yellow on, got to go in. Strange game, isn't it, sometimes? Noppon plays a poor shot, which gets him in a couple of shots later.
It's one of those, I think, Carter, he's a percentage player. He kind of didn't really want to play it, and maybe that's part of the reason why he didn't pot it. Anyway, Noppon Saengkham gets his chance.
One.
At least he's wasn't required on sort of first on today after the exertions of last night. It was a late start because the previous match had been long, Hawkins-Higgins. So it was after 10 when they started, and it was nearly 1 when they finished.
And he was certainly the more adventurous of the two players last night against Mark Selby. You know, a number of shots would confirm that point. There was a moment where he potted a red. He had the easiest roll up behind the green, which I think most of the players on the tour would have played, but he thundered in a long blue into the bottom left pocket.
7.
Yeah, it's often the case, I think, the later a match goes, the more scrappy and disjointed it becomes, but he completely flipped that on its head and he just took out the last 2 frames with big breaks. And of course he won a frame earlier on against Selby, having needed a snooker, which is almost feels like a miracle.
Yeah, a snooker on the pink and black as well, which is even more surprising. Selby very nearly hit, despite it being an awkward one. Anyway, he's here now, and if he backs it up, he'll be a tough man to beat for the rest of the tournament.
He's definitely got some steel about him, despite, you know, the very natural and warm way he talks and humble way he talks. When he gets out there, he's a fine competitor, Noppon Saengkham.
15.
Well, he actually looked at the black, which surely would never have been the shot. The green is tough as well, mind you. I know that the blue doesn't get in close to red, but this is a really difficult shot. Such a good shot under sort of the pressure of the previous shot not going well.
16.
He's not frightened to stick his neck out.
Seventeen.
Yes, the blue will go to the right corner, which of course he didn't play on, into that pocket.
Older viewers will remember
22.
James Wattenaar. He was the great Thai star of the early 90s. Got to number 3 in the world, won 3 ranking titles, including his own ranking event in Thailand a couple of times.
23.
And of course now we have Tepchara Nu, we have Noppon, we have Mink Nutshrat, and indeed Baipat Sirapaporn, 2 female players. Deshawat Poomjang, he was a great favourite, wasn't he? Sadly not in the shootout this year. It's kind of manic enough, that event, wasn't it, I suppose, without him.
Yeah, Sunny Akani back on the tour this year. He's not quite put it all together yet, but he's another lovely guy who plays
25.
well. Came off the tour and got back on. Trying to engineer a break out of not very much when he came to the table. The ball's in particularly awkward places.
Yeah, before the Chinese snooker boom, Thailand, in terms of Asia, was the #1 country for ranking events, and had the World Cup there and a lot of big tournaments over the years. Off the back of Wattenaar, just as sort of Chinese success has been as a result of Ding's initial breakthrough.
Again, quite straight on this, hard to force an angle.
Forty.
So somehow the break is continuing here. It's been a mixed bag so far. And this is not an easy one either.
Well, the fluke's looking big. I mean, obviously he was building a nice lead, but it was nowhere near over the line. But that pink going in the yellow pocket, having been attempted to the middle, could be a big moment in this first frame.
Forty-six.
And first frames often can sort of set the tone for matches, and Carter may already be feeling, hang on, I'm up against it here tonight. He's a good enough player, doesn't need the running as well.
$51.
Yeah, well, that's okay as long as the red isn't straight in the position.
There it is again. As Neil says, that was coming towards Carter in his seat. So it was a sort of unstoppable sort of train coming towards the pocket.
42.
And that was quite a handy cannon actually on that red. So you're going to need another red after the pink.
Well, it's missed again, but not going into
Noppon,
another
Saengkham,
pocket this
52.
time. So the frame's not over. It was a good break, but he run aground eventually.
One. Six.
Yeah, check at the scores. He's got a little bit of work to do. It's far from impossible, though, that he could get back into the frame. He really would like the black on its spot.
7. Twelve. Thirteen.
Certainly a good one to win. Problem is 33. Oh, goodness me. Well, I was
13.
going to say 33 in it. I don't know how he missed the blue. That was an absolute sitter. How did he miss this, playing on the red?
Well, what a gift
1.
for Noppon Saengkham. I mean, already snooker was needed, but the red was there, and Ali Carter,
Oh, well.
well, okay, the fluke happened earlier, but he had his chance there, and he'll be concerned already missing those.
I can only think that he was thinking about potting the blue, and then with the last red, he would have needed pink or
6.
black. So I think his mind was maybe ahead of the situation he was in, perhaps, and just forgot the obvious bit.
8. 11.
Remember, it is 2 wins to 0 for Noppon Saengkham over Carter in their previous meetings coming in, including here last year. That was 4-2 in the last 32. This, of course, the last 16.
15. 20.
Would actually be his first quarter-final since last year's Scottish Open, Noppon Saengkham, if he got through. Oh, well, if he's potting those,
27.
he's got every chance. But the missed blue from Carter, in the end, seemed the key moment in this frame.
12.
And Noppon Saengkham
27.
was delighted to be able to take the frame out. So trails 1-0. Did have that chance to get back into the frame, but missed the blue off the spot. Carter, of course, will be in the Masters. Next month he plays Mark Selby in round 1. course, he was in the final there last year, where he made the running against Ronnie O'Sullivan, but O'Sullivan turned it round in the end.
Played off the bunch, always taking a risk in doing so, but played it pretty well. Lovely shot, played with left-hand side, check side, just to take the cue ball slightly around the blue ball.
Six.
It's basically a quarter of a century since he really broke through, and he was earmarked at that time. He would only have been 20 years of age as a future prospect. There was a scheme called the Young Players of Distinction that the WPBSA ran, and they selected 6 young players and gave them advice and mentoring. He was one of them. It included Sean Murphy,
7.
Steve Maguire, Ryan Day. They were the other players, who, all of whom, of course, have been here this week, who stood out in that scheme. And he's gone to win so far 6 ranking titles. I'm sure he would have wanted more, but
9.
there's plenty of players who have never won any.
Ten.
Of course, 2 World Finals, 2 Masters Finals. But in 3 of those, of course, he came up against his nemesis, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
He'd love to be on to the red, just to the right and above the black. That would be perfect, but I'm not sure from this yellow whether he can get down that left side very comfortably.
Well, they just caught the knuckle of the middle pocket and has lost position. And you could see just a slight kind of sigh, and then just gave the safety a bit of respect. But he was annoyed, for sure.
Well, if he was feeling confident, he'd knock in this red to the left corner, just stun it through and beyond the black to the opposite corner, but It's an easy shot to talk about, but not an easy one to play. He's going to try it, I think. There is room to be on the black. Yeah, he didn't look right on it, did he? He was on the walk. I think his cueing went a little haywire. And he knows he wasn't comfortable on the shot.
He had that sort of snooker player smile that is masking a lot of other emotions. Most of them not particularly nice.
One.
Well, this could be a little gem of a chance that's cropped up here because of Ali Carter's mistimed long red.
Yes, and Noppon Saengkham, like any player, will just pick up on just the signs, a little bit of frustration from Carter that he hasn't got going yet tonight.
Eight. Nine.
Yeah, Noppon Saengkham very late in that match with that chance
15.
for 147. He's a terrific player around the black spot. Of course, he's already made 2 147 breaks in competitive play this year. And that takes some doing. And these balls now with the black on the pink spot,
15.
they are absolutely beautifully placed to get a frame-winning break done and dusted. It's a lovely chance.
Yeah, and he really focuses. He's a meticulous player, but he's attacking as well. So, you know, he gives every shot the correct respect, but he goes for his shots. He's a very warm character. I did a tournament in Leicester
21.
last season, and he came down for breakfast, and I'm not kidding, 4 members of staff went over to him to see what he wanted because they just really warmed to him as a person.
22.
Just very polite and very humble. He'd be a popular winner of this tournament, I think.
Yes, I agree. He could not be a nicer person to be around, actually. But as you also say, not to be confused
29.
with someone that's not got the killer instinct, because he really is a determined player on the table. And he works
30.
exceptionally hard at his game. I remember his first appearance at the Crucible 2017. He was a good player, but not anything like the force he is now.
37. $38.
That was a slightly off positional shot. Anything straighter on the black would have been a lot better. He's got to run it through here, off the cushion, I think. That's fine.
$45. 46.
Nicely done. It was a good chance, but he's taken it. Given every shot with utmost respect.
Yeah, just real good
69.
concentration on every shot. Every shot was as important as the next one, as the last one. Nothing taken for granted. So Carter must be concerned. He's seeing an opponent looking good here in the early stages. Could just do with this one in to make sure. And it kind of struggles in, but that should put any doubt to one side as to who's going to win this frame. It's going to be Noppon Saengkham. And the black's in anyway. Well, a lovely pot from tight to the cushion.
77.
So chance for a century. Dark stats people were getting excited with that maximum attempt because it would have been surely, well, either the latest ever or the earliest ever, however you want to look at it. 1:45 in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I think you made the point earlier, but usually things are happening the complete opposite of a maximum that time of night, that late in a match.
85.
Error strewn usually, but not the case with Noppon.
86.
Well, Carter was smiling, but it wasn't a real smile, was it? It was masking a lot of pain, and this is why, because this is what he feared would happen.
95.
Yes, and when he finishes this break, if he gets all the way, it'll be about 10 minutes in duration. It's quite a long break, but that's because he takes every shot, as I said, with the same routine. And what it does mean is if you're his opponent, you're
98.
doing a lot of sitting out, watching, having to retain your concentration and your positivity while you see your opponent knocking in all the balls, and that can be where snooker's a real test of the mind and the skill.
Well, there's the century. We've seen players play a lot quicker and miss when they've been in. Noppon Saengkham just plays at a nice tempo, gives every shot the same respect, and this is what happens when it all comes together. Career century 161. Ali Carter's highest break tonight, only 13 so far.
113.
A clearance of 120 from Thailand's Noppon Saengkham, and he's already halfway to victory. Ali Carter's got problems here. It's 2-0.
सो है गाइस, कैसे हो आप लोग? उम्मीद करता हूँ आप सब लोग ठीक होंगे, मज़े में होंगे और हमारी वीडियोस को एंजॉय करते होंगे। तो गाइज आप लोगों का भाई जो है ना एक नई वीडियोस के साथ जो है ना अभी आ गए आप लोग। अगर आप लोग हमारी वीडियोस अच्छी लगती है तो काइंडली हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल टिकने को जो है ना अभी से भी सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए, ताकि आपको हमारे यहाँ आने वाली वीडियो से मुफीद पहुँच सके। तो गाइज जैसे कि आप लोगों को बताया कि मेरा जो है ना इंटरनेट जो है ना आज की मैं इस वे में हम बात करेंगे कि हम जो है ना कैसे किन तरीक़ों से हम जो है ना हम अपना इंटरनेट हम अपना जो है ना इंटरनेट कनेक्शन जो है ना चेक कर सकते हैं। तो इस वीडियो में हम तीन चीज़ों के बारे में दो दो ऐप्स के बारे में बात करने वाले। एक तो है ना एक हम अपना इंटरनेट जो है ना दो तरीक़ों से खोलेंगे। तो दो तरीक़ों से अपना अपना इंटरनेट स्पीड जो है ना चेक कर सकते हैं। हम अपना इंटरनेट स्पीड जो है दो तरीक़ों से चेक कर सकते हैं। एक जो है ना हम गूगल क्रोम से चेक करेंगे, और दूसरे के लिए एक जो है ना एप्लीकेशन की ज़रूरत हमने वो करना होगा। तो सबसे पहले हम अपना गूगल क्रोम खोलते हैं, और इसमें फिर जो है ना देखते हैं कि हम जो है ना किन की गूगल क्रोम में सिंपली जो है ना आपने गूगल क्रोम पे आना है, और गूगल क्रोम पे सिंपली यहाँ पे आपने जो है ना लिखना है स्पीड टेस्ट। स्पीड टेस्ट पे जैसे ही आप लोग स्पीड टेस्ट पे क्लिक करोगे ना, तो यहाँ पे जो है ना fast.com पे जो है ना आ देगा, और स्पीड टेस्ट बाय यूकोला जो है ना सबसे बेस्ट है। इसमें जो है ना आप लोगों का जो है ना अपलोड स्पीड भी जो है ना निकल जाता है। तो इस पे जो हम जो है ना क्लिक करते हैं, तो ये जो है ना इधर से डायरेक्ट ही जो है ना एक दूसरा वेब जो है ना खुलता है। ये थोड़ा लैगी है मेरा मोबाइल, तो इसके लिए मौजूद खाओ। ये देखो अभी हमारे पास जो है ना सर्वर फाइंड हो रहे, तो हमारे सर्वर जो है ना अभी हमारे पास आ रहे यूनिट्स एम बी स्क्वायर कनेक्शन टॉय मल्टीपल टॉय इस तरह की जो है ना बड़ी बड़ी चीज़ें जो है ना आ रहा है। तो फाइंडिंग इसको जो है ना अभी सर्वर फाइंड करने दो। तो हमारा सर्वर आएगा स्काई नेट दीपापुलपुर। तो जो हमारा सर्वर आ गए, तो हम जो है ना गो पे क्लिक करते हैं, तो चेक करते हैं कि हमारा कितना जो है ना इंटरनेट स्पीड कितना आ रहा है अभी के अभी इस टाइम पे। तो ये देखो जो है ना मेरा इंटरनेट कनेक्शन जो है थोड़ा लो है। न्यू इंटरनेट कनेक्शन ट्राई करूँगा, फिर जो है ना मज़े मज़े की न्यूज़ वीडियो अच्छी क्वालिटी में जो है ना फिर मिलेगी। क्योंकि अभी जो लोग आप लोग जो कनेक्शन देख रहे हो ना बिल्कुल ही जो है ना सही नहीं है। तो मैं ट्राई करूँगा कि आप लोगों के लिए जो अच्छी से जो है ना कनेक्शन लेके आओ। तो लेकिन हमारा जो मेन मकसद है ना जो आप लोगों को समझाना है, वो तो यही है कि हम अपना इंटरनेट स्पीड कनेक्शन जो है ना कैसे चेक कर सकते हैं। तो भाई साहब हमारे पास पिंग जो है ना 30 आ रही है 299 GTRMS। वो जो है ना बहुत ही अप डाउन फ्लक्चुएट जो है ना हो रहा है। डाउनलोड स्पीड जो है ना 3.53 जो है ना आ गया, अपलोड स्पीड हमारा वहाँ 3 जो है ना 3.10 आ गया। तो यही था एक हमारा तरीका था एप्लीकेशन वेबसाइट है कि हमने गूगल क्रोम से कैसे किया। तो हम सेकंड वे पे आते हैं कि दूसरी तरीके से हम जो है ना अपना गूगल जो है ना वो कैसे कर सकते हैं। तो इसके लिए आप लोग को सबसे पहले जो है ना गूगल प्ले स्टोर जो है ना ऑन करना पड़ेगा। यहाँ पे मेरे पास बहुत ऐप्स है। जो प्ले स्टोर जो है ना सीधा मैं अपने आ गए अपने प्ले स्टोर पे। तो जैसे ही मैं प्ले स्टोर पे आ गया, तो यहाँ पे मैं लिखता हूँ स्पीड टेस्ट। स्पीड टेस्ट यहाँ पे भी लिखूँ सैम्पली जो है ना यहाँ पे एक अच्छी मज़ेदार जो है ना एक एप्लीकेशन होगा जो है ना बहुत सारे स्पीड टेस्ट है। स्पीड इंटरनेट स्पीड जो सबसे टॉप पे है ना 4.5 हुए। इंटरनेट स्पीड चिक टेस्ट स्पीड चिक जो है ना बड़े मज़े का है। इसमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें जो है ना बहुत अच्छी चीज़ें जो है ना मिलने मज़े के मिल सकते हैं। स्पीड टेस्ट मीट और बहुत सारे ऐप्स हैं, इनमें से जो है ना आप लोग जो है ना अपनी मर्ज़ी का जो है ना स्पीड टेस्ट जो है ना कर सकते हो। ये जो है ना ये वाला ऐप जो है ना सबसे बड़े मज़े का है। ये भाई ऊपर स्टॉप पे जो है ना आपने डेली कितना यूज़ किया, डेली कितना इंटरनेट जो है ना आपने यूज़ किया है, कितना नहीं किया है। तो ये जो है ना आपको इस ऐप के बारे में बताएगा कि कितना जो है इंटरनेट कनेक्शन जो है ना आप यूज़ करते हो। तो सबसे पहले तो आपने जो मैं यूज़ करता हूँ कि आप लोग मेरे फॉलोअर्स हो, जो मैं कहूँगा मेरे शब्द पे जो है ना आप लोग वो पसंद करते हो, मैं जो बोलता हूँ वो बोल सही लिखते हो। स्पीड टेस्ट बाय उकाला जो है ना सबसे बेस्ट ऐप है। आप लोगों ने मेरे हिसाब से तो है ना अच्छा एक्यूरेट रिजल्ट जो है ना देखता है। तो आप लोग इसको फीचर्स देख सकते हो। इसमें लाइक बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, जीपीएस भी है वगैरह सारा कुछ जो है ना मज़े मज़े के एंट्री भी लोगों के कनेक्शन इसमें डाले भी इतने एमबी तो हमने आईडी में भी नहीं देखा है। मैंने इससे पहले क्लिक किया कि आप लोगों ने यहाँ पे डाउनलोड वाला ऑप्शन होगा, तो आपने इस डाउनलोड वाले ऑप्शन पे क्लिक करना है, उसको जो है ना ओपन करना है। तो ये सेम भी उसी की तरह है। आप हैं दो तरीक़ों से इसको जो है ना वो कर सकते हो। एक ब्राउज़र के तरीका आप कर सकते हो, ब्राउज़र में ईजी वाली सीन होता है, वहीं पे आप लोग फिर अगर आप लोग के मोबाइल में जो है ना स्टोरेज नहीं है, तो आप वो वाला तरीका जो है ना यूज़ कर सकते हो। तो सिंपली आप लोगों ने फिर यहाँ पे जो है ना सर्वर जो है ना पहला जो है वो आ गए, तो दोबारा जो है ना गो पे स्टिक करना है, और सिंपली वही चीज़ है, वही प्रोसीजर है। और जो है ना हमारा जो है ना अभी इंटरनेट कनेक्शन जो है ना थोड़ा स्टेबल हो गया। पहले वो ब्राउज़र वगैरह खुला था तो सही थी नहीं, 6 MB का नेट मैंने लगवाया है। तो यही सीन है अभी, सीन समझ रहे हो। तो यही सीन था गाइस, सो यही था अपना हमारा सफ़र, तो यही सारा सीन था गाइस, तो यही सारा कुछ था। सो और यही सीन है गाइस। तो आज की वीडियो हमने जाना कि हम किस दो तरीक़े से है ना हम अपने गूगल क्रोम के अपने एंटर स्पीड में चेक कर सकते हैं। एक हमने देखा कि हमने गूगल क्रोम के ज़रिए जो है ना हमने कर दिया, और दूसरा तरीका जो है ना हमने एक एप्लीकेशन के ज़रिए किया। अगर आप लोग हमारी वीडियो अच्छी हो तो काइंडली हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल चिकन मोजिम को जो है ना अभी से अभी सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए, घंटे के निशान पर क्लिक किया ताकि हम हर वाली वीडियो और समस्त वीडियो हो जाए। तो अब के लिए मेरी इजाज़त, मिलते हैं न्यू वीडियो में। अल्लाह हाफिज़।